Snow fell in slow, lazy spirals outside the cafe window, but the little girl standing in the doorway did not notice. Her thin arms clutched a battered teddy bear so tightly it looked like her only friend. She was trembling, from cold or from something deeper. People inside were too busy to care. Laptops glowed, coffee steamed, laughter rose from crowded cables. She scanned the room, eyes darting, searching for someone, and then her gaze landed on me. She hesitated. I was just a man, sitting alone in the corner, black coffee cooling untouched beside my laptop. My suit was pressed, my shoes shined, the kind of look that usually made people think twice before interrupting. But she walked toward me anyway. "Can I sit here?" Her voice was soft, but in the noisy cafe, it was like a fragile bell ringing. I should have said no. I avoided strangers, especially children. They reminded me too much of what I had lost. But her eyes, God, those eyes! They were far too knowing for someone her age. The kind of eyes that held storms. I nodded. Yes. She slid into the chair opposite me, placing her teddy bear on the table as if introducing us. "This is Henry," she whispered. Her fingers stroked its matted fur slowly, carefully. The bear was worn, missing an ear, but she touched it like it was priceless. I could not look away from her hands. They shook faintly, the way my late wife's used to when she was nervous. She didn't order anything. She just sat there watching the snow. I finally asked, "Where's your mom?" Her shoulders stiffened. "She's not here anymore." Before I could reply, the barista appeared, placing a small cup of cocoa in front of her. "On the house," she said with a smile. The girl cupped it like treasure, took one slow sip, then looked straight at me. "Do you believe in angels?" I froze. My wife had asked me that exact same question the night before she died. The words hit me like a punch to the chest. "Do you believe in angels?" I blinked, unsure how to answer. "Why do you ask?" She traced the rim of her cocoa cup with one small finger, her eyes fixed on the swirling steam. "Because I think my mom is one now. She talks to me sometimes at night. She told me to find you." A slow chill crept up my spine. "Find me?" She nodded, calm but certain. "She said you could help me. She said you have the same heart my dad did." I gripped my coffee cup a little tighter, trying to steady my voice. "Where's your dad?" Her lips pressed together, trembling slightly. "He went away too." I wanted to ask more, but something about her small frame hunched over the cocoa told me this was not a story she had told many times. Instead, I softened my tone. "What's your name?" "Lila." The sound of it was a gut punch. My wife and I had once chosen that exact name for the daughter we would never have. She reached into her tiny backpack and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Without a word, she slid it across the table toward me. I unfolded it slowly. It was a pencil sketch. My face. Every detail was there. The crease between my brows, the line of my jaw, even the faint shadow of weariness under my eyes. "How did you draw this?" I asked quietly. Her gaze didn't waver. "I've seen you before. My mom showed me your picture. She told me to find the man with the sad eyes." My throat tightened. My late wife had said that to me often. "You have the saddest eyes even when you smile." Before I could respond, she reached again into her bag and brought out a small silver locket. She slid it across the table. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a faded photograph. My late wife, smiling, her arm around a young woman I did not recognize. And between them was Lila. My pulse hammered in my ears. I stared at the photograph inside the locket. My breath caught halfway in my throat. My wife, smiling in the sunlight, her arm around a younger woman I didn't recognize. And standing between them, a much younger Lila, maybe 3 years old, holding the same worn teddy bear that now sat on the cafe table. I looked up slowly. "Lila, who's the woman in this picture?" Her voice was soft and steady. "My mom. Her name was Sarah." Sarah. The name cracked open a memory I hadn't touched in years. Sarah had been my wife's closest friend in college, full of energy, always laughing, fiercely loyal. I remembered her being there at our wedding, teasing us both, making my wife laugh so hard she cried. But after my wife passed, Sarah had drifted away. Life, or grief, had swallowed her whole. "What happened to her?" I asked carefully. She stared down at her teddy bear. "She got sick, really sick. The doctors tried, but..." Her voice faded into silence. I swallowed hard, forcing the next question out. "And your dad?" Her hands tightened around Henry the bear. "He was gone before I was born. Mom said he was a good man, that I'd know when I met someone like him." The words stuck in my chest. I didn't know why, but every instinct told me this wasn't just a coincidence. "Why did your mom want you to find me?" She glanced at the window, her breath fogging the glass. Then she reached into her bag again and pulled out an envelope, worn, creased, my name written across the front in Sarah's handwriting. She slid it toward me like it weighed more than she could carry. I turned the envelope over in my hands, my fingers shaking. When I finally opened it, a single line in Sarah's familiar script made my chest tighten until I could barely breathe. "If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and Lila is yours." The words burned into me. "Lila is yours." I read them again, my vision blurring. Sarah's handwriting was shaky, but every letter carried her trust. The letter went on. "You were the only man I knew who could love her the way she deserves. You loved my best friend until her last breath. I know you will protect my daughter with the same heart. Please, be her family when I cannot." The cafe was still full of chatter and clinking cups, but I could not hear any of it. My focus was locked on the small girl in front of me, her coconut half finished, her hands trembling as if she feared what I might say. I closed the letter slowly and looked at her. "Lila?" My voice cracked. "You're not alone anymore. You want me?" I leaned forward, reaching for her small, cold hands. "I don't just want you. I think I was meant to find you." She stared at me for a moment, and then she was out of her chair, throwing herself into my arms. She was so light, it felt like I could carry her forever. Her small body shook against mine. "I thought nobody would want me," she whispered into my chest. "You were wanted before you were even born." For years, I had lived with a hole in my life that no success, no wealth could fill. I had buried myself in work, telling myself that grief was safer than hope. But holding Lila in that moment, I realized I had been wrong. We stepped outside together, the winter air crisp and quiet. Snowflakes caught in her hair as she looked up at me. "Do you believe in angels now?" she asked. I brushed a tear from her cheek. "I do, because one just sat down at my table today." We walked away, hand in hand, two people who had lost everything, but somehow found each other in the unlikeliest place. And in that moment, the future no longer felt empty. If this story touched your heart, join me here on this channel. Every week we share real-life moments that prove love still finds a way. Subscribe now so you never miss the next story that could change how you see the world.